Greetings, all, and welcome to the second episode of Wormwood Talks. I know it's been a while since, I promised that I would try and do more of these things, but I've just been so incredibly busy, with work on the channel and whatnot. But, lately there is something that I would like to talk about, actually. Something that recently has started to hit home with me and has kind of put me in a situation that is more than uncomfortable from my position. So, as the topic of today, I want to talk briefly about love. I know, it's a weird thing to be hearing from me. I understand that. But this is something that I feel like I need to talk about because it really is starting to impact me in a way that I had never foreseen it impacting me before. So, the first thing we have to understand, what exactly is love? Well, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, love is simply a strong affection for another arising out of kinship or personal ties. It's somebody that you truly care for reasons that are either personal or public or whatnot, that they're part of your life, an important part of your life. So, with that said, then we have to understand, what does love really entail? What is caused by? Well, if you want to go scientific term, chemicals in the brain, things of that nature, and that's all well and good. We can go in a dissertation about that for a while. But to talk from a metaphysical standpoint, it's all about the heart. Always about the heart. And even as a person of science, I am also one that recognizes that heart is so valuable. So incredibly valuable. With our hearts, we feel. When we feel something, it impacts us. It makes us want to do something or react to it in some way or shape or form. And love is, in my opinion, and I know this is going to sound cheesy, but definitely the most powerful emotion out there. It is by far the one emotion, the one feeling that truly does conquer all. Again, I know that sounds really cheesy, but it really is also the truth. Now, love is something that holds great importance not just in individuals but also society. At a societal level, love is what brings people together. We have mutual interests, sure. We have things that we do that are in common, things that we like in common, etc., etc. But there's a difference between just liking somebody and loving somebody. When you like someone, they might be your friend or a very good associate or somebody that you trust, somebody that you interact with on a regular basis, somebody that, your buddy, your pal, things of that nature. But the thing is that there is a level, a barrier to how far you will take it with that person, how close you are to that individual. Like a friend. Would you save their life if it was between you and them? That's a question that I'm not going to answer on my own. But it's sort of the thing that you can't always be sure that a friend is going to stay a friend. Can't always be sure that no matter what kind of crazy shenanigans you get into, that they will stand by your side. You can never really be sure of that. Some might argue otherwise, but for the sake of this argument, let's just go with that. But when you love someone, there's something more to it. That you feel drawn to them, that there is an unexplainable desire to want to be near them. You care for them, you feel compassion for them, you want to be there for them in any instance. You are there for them. And hopefully they are there for you. Love is something that men's society, even after great wars and great conflicts, when we are battling against each other, ripping each other apart tooth and nail, in the aftermath, what is it that heals us? It's love. Love is what heals us. We put aside our differences, we put aside our weapons of warfare, we look at each other and we realize, hey, look, we've been fighting a lot, but in reality, it's been kind of pointless. At least in some cases. Because we have all these things in common. We both believe in certain things, we both like certain things, we have a lot in common. So, instead of fighting, let's come together. Let us care for one another. Let us protect one another on the basis of these similarities. And that is how society heals. By having the opportunity to look at the other person in the eye and tell them, hey, we may have our differences sometimes, but there are a lot of things we have in common. I would like to focus on those good things. And that's really how love starts. It's willingness to put aside your own interests for those of others, to be something for them, even if in some cases you can't be that for yourself. And I know that all too well. So that's at a societal level. What does love do for us at an individual level? Well, love helps us form connections, companionships. Because, let's be honest here, mankind, the human race, we are a societal species. We really are. We need people. We work best when we work together. And so, it might be okay if you be like, it's okay, I'm okay without it. You want to be isolated? Okay, that's fine. That's your preference. But I firmly also believe that at least to some minute degree or another, we do desire human contact. We desire to be a part of someone else's life. Maybe as a friend, maybe as just an acquaintance, or in some cases, as a lover, as somebody that cares for them deeply and intimately. And what love does for us is something very important. It allows us to go beyond the normal boundaries we have for how much we're willing to trust someone, to devote time to someone, and it shows us, in my personal opinion, what our true colors are. When we see someone that we care for, and we want to go beyond what we have to do, how far do we take it? What do we really want to do with it? Love is a way of showing that, hey, I don't just like you, I really, really like you. To show that, hey, you don't have to be alone. I'm here for you. And sure, a friend could say that, but with love, with true love, it goes beyond that. It goes to a level of purposefulness that makes it very difficult to be broken. People that will stay with you even during the hardest of times because they love you. People that will do just about anything for you, even sacrifice themselves because they love you. People that will be what you need them to be because they love you. And I firmly believe that that is something that is so invaluable that, and this might make some people angry, but I don't think, completely at least, that having friends necessarily fulfills that role. I really don't believe that. Now, granted, there are different levels of love and affection. There's love in terms of just a general term, you really feel endeared towards somebody, that's fine. There's love like familial love, which is, hey, you are family, you are blood, we care for you, no matter what the situation is. But the love, to me, that is truly the strongest is that special kind of love between you and another person. An intimate level of relationship that just signifies that you are not alone. You truly, no matter what, are not alone. Now, love, unfortunately, is not always pure. And that is simply because of the fact that we are still animals. And I mean that in a literal sense. We are animals. And so we have our instincts, our primal drives that make us do things. And really, the primal need to reproduce, that's pretty much what started love in the first place. That is really the catalyst for it to even exist. But I will also note that, despite all this, love is not always pure because of it. And it makes sense. You want to reproduce somebody? Okay. Your love is not going to be just because, hey, I like you, and I'd like to keep the population going, so, But it also can be twisted in ways that I find very much unappealing. And what I mean by that is that it can be perverted. Like, and I'm gonna be an adult here, so hang on to your seats, people. Like sexual intercourse, for example. Something of that nature, okay? Like, that is and can be part of it, but I also believe that's not what it's really all about. To many, that might be an important step, but that's not what it's all about. So like if you have a relationship that is focused completely on that and that alone, that's not really love in my opinion. It just really isn't. That is just a mutual attraction to somebody that well, But I do believe that love needs to be a little bit pure. More so than just that. I'm not saying totally pure, because, and I apologize for this one, but I'm a firm believer that a little bit of corruption here and there isn't necessarily a bad thing. If anything else, with the way society works these days, it's kind of expected. And it kind of makes a lot of sense. Pure love is very difficult to work with, if only because you yourself have to have pure intentions within a relationship. And I'll be the first to admit, and I'm sure many others would agree with me, that is not always an easy thing to do. No, because again, we are animals, so instincts will still drive us. With that said, though, in talking about love, then, I have to then speak briefly here on something that I unfortunately have had too much experience with. And that is the perils of loneliness. Again, as I mentioned before, loneliness, it is something that some people can deal with, you know? They say that, you know what, I'm alone, I'm just on my own, I'm okay. I have other things to worry about than love. It's fine, I can work with it. And you know what? More power to them. Truly, more power to them. I give them all the credit in the world. I really do. And I know what it's like to be like that because that's how I used to be for much of my life. I really was just an independent person. Relationships were just something that I did not really have any interest in. Not because I didn't want them, just because of the fact that, I had other things to worry about. But as of late, loneliness is something that I have experienced. Now, I do have friends online, I do. And I have all of you who were kind enough to listen. But as I said before, at a level that is, I think, fundamental to understanding this whole situation of love, and I hate to say this because I don't want to seem rude, I don't want to say that it's not enough, because it is so much, it means so much to me, but there's something missing. There is something fundamentally missing from everything. And that is that kind of feeling of love. Loneliness does take its toll over time. It honestly does. For someone like me now. Because I'm in a life situation that isn't exactly that great. I won't put into many details what exactly is going on, but let's just say that things have become a lot harder for me as of late than they ever have been before. And it has been, I don't want to say discouraging, but it has been incredibly depressing. And to some degree or another, I can't just blame that on the world. I can't. Because I've had my chances. I have. But I've also made mistakes. Mistakes that I very, very much regret. And I wish I could go back and fix them, but that's just not how life works, And so, with these mistakes, I have learned from them, and I try to be a better person for them. But even with that said, it really hasn't gotten any better. Like, I will be honest, and this is going to seem a little awkward for me to talk about this, but that's why these talks exist in the first place. I am a traditional person when it comes to love, in that I do believe that you should be able to find someone in your life. And I very much wish I could. I really could. Because I have a lot to share. And I don't think I'm too bad of a person. I have my flaws, of course, but every human being has their flaws. And I have been correcting as many of those flaws as possible as of late to try and make things better off. But unfortunately, in my profession, in my location geographically, and in my position societally, I don't have much left. And it kind of hurts me, honestly, because I don't want to say that I am intently looking, because that will make me sound like a bit of a creep, but I kind of am at a subconscious level. I kind of am stuck here, wanting to feel that. And not just that, but wanting to make someone else feel that. To make someone else's day. Hell, to make someone else's life. And I'm at a point in my life where I can't. Not because I don't want to, but because there's nobody left that I know of. And that really does hurt me. It feels like I've exhausted, the kind of resources that I feel would work best for me, because I'm not going to go on some crazy dating site like eHarmony or something like that, because for one thing, that costs money and I don't have that money to spend. But more importantly, because I'm really looking for someone that I can connect to through the things that I love the most, and that's my work here on YouTube and elsewhere. And that's what's gotten me to the few times I've had chances, but again, I've made mistakes and things didn't go so well. But I think this time, if I can ever get another chance, I think that I am prepared. Because I've always had an issue of putting my work and things of that nature above other people, but as of late, I'll be honest, that's just not me. I crave human interaction. I really do. I value it immensely. And that kind of contact, to be able to talk with somebody, that somebody out there really wants to not just talk with you or interact with you, that wants to be with you, to be by your side. That I find is something just incredibly honorable and really shows how people feel about who you are as a person. This has been a very difficult experience for me because I do crave that kind of attention, but only because I know that's what I really need. I need it because I have a need to be there for people. And sure, as a friend, yeah, I can do that quite well. But I also know that there is so much more to me. I could do so much more for other people, and I want to. I really want to, because helping people is what makes me happy. Being there for somebody, someone that is special to another, that is what makes me happy. That fulfills me. And it makes me want to really fulfill them as well. Love is something that should never be taken for granted. It really shouldn't, under any circumstances. And unfortunately, I have had to learn that several times the hard way. But I will say this. If I can find someone, if I can find anyone again, I will not make those mistakes again. Love is not something to be squandered or wasted. It is something to be cared for, to be embraced, to be sought for. It is something that I think in some way or another we all need in our hearts. And I can only hope that perhaps, maybe, just maybe, I may find someone again. I have my doubts, but stranger things have certainly happened to me. So, for those of you who have someone that is special like that in their life, someone that you truly care for at a very deep level, hold on to them. Do not let them go. Be there for them and care for them, and they will do the same for you. I can only hope that on my end, perhaps, maybe someday, I will find that special someone. When I do, I will not mess up. I will not screw up. I will show them just how much love I have in my heart, and maybe, just maybe, they'll feel comfortable enough to do the same for me. Thank you very much for listening to me. This is Professor Wormwood, out.